Welcome to NinonSpeaks. Yes, I'm back again. I have the most incredible guest, and you will recognize him. He's been on many, many times. And the reason I keep having him back is because he has an incredible vision of what's going on in this world. And he actually requested if we could talk about love, and I absolutely agree with him. C. Regi Rodgers. I got the name right this time. I've always missed out that C bit. I didn't. I thought C was in the middle, and I just call him Regi Rodgers. You know? But now we have C. Regi. How are you, Reggie?
Very, very well. And
You're
yourself, Ninon?
Absolutely wonderful.
You look very bright and brilliant.
Well, I don't know about the brilliant part, but the bright part sounds quite good. Brilliant is, but we're talking about love, and then I was talking to you about being grounded and all that stuff, and we need to get connected somehow to something that's giving us a positive feeling.
I agree. My thrust has always been relationships.
Yes.
But when you look at the paradigm that's taking place, you see such a division.
Oh. A big division.
But that division also equates to divorces.
Uh-oh.
So just as the world needs love, relationships need more love.
But they also need understanding of each other. I think that when you get married, when I got married anyway, I brought something with, apart from the love and all the necking and all that crazy stuff, I brought something else to the marriage as well, of two people coming together and kind of working life together as of, making money and doing the home and it's not just, the woman goes out shopping and he goes out working. Mm-hmm. It doesn't happen that way. Mm-hmm. You have to be able to work together to create together. Have we lost that?
What you're painting, though, you're painting a picture of a partnership.
Yes, it should be.
Today, a lot of people are operating from a sole proprietorship.
Well, that's not going to work.
It's not going to work. So a partnership and a sole proprietorship are two totally different things. Yes. But you have people that appear to be in a partnership, but they're really operating as a sole proprietor.
Individually.
Yes.
And this one's got this job and this one's got that job, and never the twain shall meet.
And one of the things we talked about on one of your previous shows is what the pandemic showed us. The pandemic showed us if we had a problem, if we had a partner, or if we had a project.
Yes.
And so most people realized that they didn't have a partner. So now everybody's doing their own thing.
And has that started because, and I'm going to have a lot of women very mad at me, but I don't mind.
You know how to go in deep water and swim.
Yeah, I'll swim. I'll do the butterfly stroke or whatever stroke I have to do, or the doggy paddle. Is it because women have become a little more independent, or they've become more in the working field, or demanding more, or trying to be equal to the man?
Well, I think there's a misconception. I think women want to be independent, but then they also want to operate with interdependence.
Okay.
So with this independence, they don't know how to balance it with interdependence.
What's it? I've never heard that word before.
Interdependence is when it's a partnership.
Yes. When you work together.
We're interlocked. We're working together.
And that's why isn't that why we get married?
Depending on each other.
Isn't that why we get married and have children?
Supposedly.
So have children.
Supposedly. It's a partnership. You want to work together. You build together.
Yeah.
You do things together.
Yes.
You do things together because you feel like you're going to be in it for the long haul together.
That's my philosophy of it. But I always think that women have become a little bit too less like a woman and trying to be more like a man. That's never going to work. Because women are women and men are men. We do and think totally different to a man, and a man thinks totally different. A man walks out of the house, he's got to pay the mortgage, he's got to pay the cars, he's got to pay the kids, he's got to get food in the house, he's got to do all this. A woman walks out and she says, now what pair of shoes shall I buy today?
Unfortunately, there have been men that vacated that role, so women had to fill that void. And so now you have women who have become extremely, what they would say, man conscious because of the fact that they've had to pay the bills. They've had to make the groceries. They've had to operate in the position of what a man would typically do. So that's why I said back to a little while ago, there's a misconception here.
There's definitely a misconception. But isn't that because the women sort of did it and men kind of gave up and said, well, she's out working and she's doing this and that's fine. I don't have to do it as much anymore.
So they coined a couple of phrases back in the 70s. One was called machismo and the other was called marinismo. The
I'm
Marinismo.
learning something here, aren't I? All these different words.
The Marinismo
Yes.
was the counterpart to the machismo.
Okay.
So the machismo is when a man is macho.
Yes.
And he operates with an ego. He has the machismo. He has a certain bravado that he operates.
I'm the man and I'm...
Absolutely. There's a bravado there.
Yes.
So that woman now became, in the 70s, when men came back from war,
yes.
they found that women were operating
by themselves
in positions that men typically operated in. Women were now doing it. So then women took on this bravado called Marinismo,
which is they took because they had to operate everything.
So now we go back to my original. So there's a misconception here. They're not sure if this is how they really want to be. They've had to become it. So now they've done it for so long. This is what they're doing, but they're not certain if they really want to be it.
I'm getting the illusion from women, on what I'm understanding, that they want, a lot of women do. There's a lot that want to be independent, but I see a lot of them, they kind of want to go back to being the woman and sort of, being taken care of. I see a lot of that lately. But I see a little...
They don't know, but they don't know how to fall back into that because they've done this so long. That's what, again, I guess our key word today is going to be misconception. It's been misconstrued, if you would, because of the fact that one of the stages that I teach when it comes to dating is independence versus interdependence.
Okay.
The independence aspect is when a woman has been independent for so long, does she know how to bridge the gap to her
original
to become interdependent?
Yes.
That's one of the stages.
Dependent on him.
Now the two are they're building a bridge to walk over together.
Yes.
So that there is this balance from one to the other.
Yes.
Not the
one side
swinging more to this side than it is the other side.
Yes.
But there's a balance to the pendulum is swinging both
ways.
So there's a balance and they're working together. That's the interdependence. And that's one of the stages I teach in dating because it's extremely important that a woman has to get to that place of letting go of her, and I do too as a male.
Yes.
I can't be so independent that I don't know how to bring her in to incorporate.
Yeah, because you've got to bring her in and she's got to bring you in.
Absolutely.
That's the marriage I had. I had I'm not saying it was a perfect marriage, but it was 99% pretty cool. And we
99% is high. That's really good.
Yeah, we're pretty cool because we just did everything together. We held hands for 29 years. We actually, and if anybody said to me, Ninon, what do you remember about your husband? I can remember him doing this. He was, where are you? He was trying to find my hand. He was always wanting to hold hands. It was amazing. I want to get back to, though, you want to talk about love. So how do we start instigating this love business, and what do you know about love that we can interject and help people out there?
That's great. I think there's a few directions I want to go with this. The first direction I want to go is love in and of itself doesn't fill in the unknown with negative assumptions.
Well, negative would not be love, would it?
So that's
number one.
That's very important. Love does not fill in the unknown with negative assumptions.
Yeah.
Secondly, love knows how to give the benefit of the doubt. That's when you can work together.
I love that.
So,
hey, listen to all this. It's really cool.
So what I've discovered about love creates two stories.
Okay.
Love creates a life story.
Yeah.
Because we're on a journey.
All of us, every one of us
are on a journey. That's the life story. It's creating the life story. But then when you bring somebody else into the picture, that now equates to the beginning of the love story. But the life story doesn't stop.
No, because you still got the life going.
It's just incorporated now with two people. So now we have a life story it's a continuum. Yeah. And then we have a love story. It's a continuum. So then we discover that on the journey, love becomes the adhesive. It's the glue. It's the stick-to-itiveness that brings it all together, that makes it worth the while, that makes it worth it all. So now you have this glue that is stronger if we understand the power of love, how impactful love is, how meaningful and magical love can be. Then we have this glue that's stronger than anything that will ever try to pull it apart.
Absolutely. Now, when we talk about the two people, we're now going to talk about the children, because now you've got the children that can be a little aggravating because they've got their own minds, their own things and everything else. So now we have to make sure we bring all this together as a family, as part of the love.
So now here's where the male role comes in, because the male sets the tone for the house. So the children are watching how the father reacts to the mother. And that is the fragrance and the aroma now that is now dispersed in the home.
In the home, yes.
So the male sets the tone. As he sets the tone, I do this thing. This is funny. I do this when I meet. When I meet someone.
Yes.
You know what I do?
What do you do?
If we go out,
yes,
and we're walking,
yeah,
I'll make a left. I'll make a right. I'll go straight. I'll stop. I do this, and then I'll make another left. I just want to see if she's going to follow me, or if she's going to sit back and say,
"Where are you going?
What are you doing?" She's saying to me, if she follows me, that she trusts my judgment,
yes,
and that I have enough wisdom to lead her.
Do you know, this is really quite funny, and I'm going to tell you why. I was thinking of this morning, exactly what you said, and I was thinking about you dating, and I was thinking about how does Regi date? And you just told me a story. Oh,
I'm strategic.
What's the outcome? Have you found some?
I'm very strategic.
Have you found something?
Yes, absolutely. And because I wanted to make sure that the person trusts my judgment
as a man,
and that
or
believes
as
that I have enough wisdom to lead a household, and her being in that household that says, you know what, this man has a vision. Not only does he have a vision for himself, he would have a vision for our home.
Yeah, but also for her.
Absolutely. That would be inclusive.
Now, a lot of women are going to be a little bit upset about you, the man, taking charge.
See, but it's not done in that form. You know, I'm the man, you're going to do what I say.
Well, no, that'll never work.
No.
Not in this day and age, anyway.
You lead by example.
Yes. So if she did the same thing, would you follow her?
Probably. Yes, I would.
Well, you probably would, because
I would. Because I understand. I understand that there has to be some type of structure, and then I understand that I wouldn't want somebody. Whatever she would do, I would do. So in other words, I wouldn't do something that I wouldn't expect her not to do.
So that's actually going back to what I was talking
about partnership.
Before, and that's the partnership of helping each other. I mean, whether if say you're in real estate, because my husband was in real estate, I helped him with real estate. And it was always kind of after the meeting and after everything, we sit in the car and he asked me all these questions about different things, of my opinion of what I thought. And I would give him exactly what I thought. And that's how we made a tremendous amount of money because of that way we did it, because he knew from me he would get the honest answer because we had that partnership.
That's important.
And that's very important.
Very important.
Okay, so now we've got the mum and the dad and the children. Now, and we want to make this worldwide.
Okay.
So regardless of being married, just a man and a woman on children, how do we now get them to love each other more? In other words, if I was in a supermarket and somebody knocked me and just ignored it, why wouldn't they say, oh, I'm sorry? I would say, I'm sorry.
Right.
Why aren't so many people not doing that now? And they're not.
Because maybe we just haven't expanded our minds to the concept of selfish and selfless. So many people are still selfish,
yes,
and not selfless. Because when you become selfless, if I accidentally bumped you in a store and I didn't say something, when somebody's selfless, you would probably, they're just probably having a bad day. I'm not even tripping. Because they're having a bad day.
Yeah. Well, just because having doesn't make the excuse to turn around, not say you're sorry. Right. And this happens all the time. I'm watching it.
Yeah, it does. But you still have people that are still so fixated into their own world of everything that they have going on.
Yeah.
It's got them in kind of like a maze.
Yes, that they don't see anything else around them, which I do agree with. I think that is very true, because they're probably thinking about how am I going to get money for the food, and how am I going to get money for this, and how am I going to take care of the kids, or whatever the case is. They're all so different. So how do we break this style? Because a lot of people worry about things that's never going to materialize. How do we get them out of that worrying? Because they worry and then nothing happens.
Right. I think, there's a...
Love yourself?
Well, let me take this a couple of different directions. The journey to love is not about finding the one. The journey to love is about becoming the one.
Ooh, I like that.
So when I become it, it becomes me. So the question then you would probably ask me, well, how do I become it? You have to work on your to thine own self be true.
Oh, I love that saying, to thine own self be true.
Know thyself.
Know thyself.
And that word,
that's inside.
That's it. That's so powerful because that word know is a word of intimacy. When you study the etymological root, the word know, you discover that the word know is a word of intimacy. That's why in the Bible it says, how can Mary be pregnant when she have not known a man?
Yes, I think everybody's still wondering about that, especially the younger generation this day and age. They're still wondering, well, how did that happen? Because they know that two people make children.
It's so that word, and it also teaches in the Bible, it says, it is the truth that you know that has the ability to make you free.
Yes.
So the word know is a word of intimacy. It's the truth that you lay down with. It's the truth that you get intimate with.
Yeah.
It's the truth that has the ability to impregnate you.
Yeah, to
so thine own self be true.
Now, it's funny you say that because I often think we know what's going on inside of us. And until we speak it out, our actions or whichever way we expose our inner self, but really nobody knows really what's going on. So you can say anything you want out there to people and everything else. And, it could not be the truth. It could be a lie. It could be anything. I'm not saying it is a lie. I'm just saying, hypothetically. And so and that's where this comes in, to thine own self be true. In other words, you know exactly what's going in here. You know right from wrong. You know that whatever you do to somebody else, you know that's wrong, or you know it's right.
Right. It's your reality. That's what it's your reality. Yeah. So it's getting to that place where you begin to visualize your reality. You said a word before we started this show today, and I think it's one of my favorite words is manifestation.
Yeah, manifestation. Yeah.
Manifesting.
Manifesting.
We are all manifestors.
Yes, we are. Of course we are.
Because we all have a creative ability to be creators. So we can manifest whatever we determine we want to exist in our life.
Well, isn't that what you've done? You've manifested what you do, which is you try to keep marriages together, keep engagements together, keep families together, and you're actually helping each person individually, because that's how it works, to become two people as one.
Yes. Yes. And I don't want you half and you half. I don't want you coming 50%, you 50%, you guys gonna make 100%. No, that's two half people that's not whole. You're not ready.
People.
So I want you to be 100% and he's 100%, and you have two people that are whole to make one.
To make one. Because that's what it is. That's what kind of, whether it's marriage or living together, it really doesn't, I'm saying living together because that's kind of what a lot of people do. The younger generation, they live together and then they get married and then they marry for the wrong reasons.
Yes.
How do they marry for the right reasons?
I think that
love, back to love.
Well, see, that goes back to understanding you.
Yes.
What's your fit? So you have to really now do the work as it relates to you by sitting down, taking the time to determine what are my deal breakers, what are my deal makers, and what are my absolute non-negotiables.
Non-negotiables means
non-negotiable.
It's set in
Absolute
concrete.
is just not going to work for me.
That's not going to work. No, I'm not going to change.
Yes, that just does not work that is not a fit for me. It doesn't work.
And that's where we have to change that a little bit.
Like a person who smokes just wouldn't work for me.
No.
Absolute non-negotiable.
No, that's not. Yes, if you were thinking of marrying them or living with them or whatever the case. Yeah, well, I can think of a lot of.
There's a ton of them I could come up with. I just gave you that one as an example, but
lots of them when I'm not married, and it's like it's like when I go out to dinner with a guy, and I'm like halfway through dinner, I'm thinking, I wish I could leave now. I want to stay here. I want to go, and it happens to me all the time. And I often think that maybe I'm like that is because I had such a beautiful marriage. I had such a great marriage of everything was, don't see perfect, but it was pretty 99%.
It sounds like he raised the bar very high.
Whoever
comes, if there's another, they're going to have to.
He did.
He sounds like
and he told me,
he
told me, and it's true to this day, you will never find another man like me. He said that. Of course, he passed away in 2004. So it's happened.
What year?
2004.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so it's been a long time. And I'm not really looking. It's just, they always say, don't look, it'll come along. Well, I'm not looking and it hasn't come along. So I don't know. But getting back to...
I have a question for you.
Okay, yes.
If it came along, would you be able to mix your independence with your interdependence? Would you be able to
Absolutely.
bridge it too?
Absolutely.
You would?
I would.
Okay.
If he was that good, and I did that with my husband, actually, because I was very independent.
Right.
I didn't meet my husband until I was 32. And I turned around and said to myself, Soph, you've got to get married. Because English women are supposed to get married between 20 and 22, 23. That's when we're supposed to get married. Well, like 10 years later. And because I was having such a wonderful, I've had a beautiful life, a wonderful life. And so I said, I got to get married. And lo and behold, this guy came along. I couldn't believe it. This guy came along and very quiet, very nice, didn't have any money, lived in Northridge. He lived in a $35,000 home. And I'm living in Beverly Hills, living it up. But he was the man.
Wow.
And it was nothing, no money, no nothing.
And you created a partnership.
And we created a partnership.
And created an empire.
Yes,
and the
we
rest
did.
was history.
And the rest was history. And then he passed away,
That's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah. And it truly was. It was like a bit of a fairy. I mean, yes, he had 6 children. He had 3 from one wife and 3 from the other. So I always turn around and say, I married my husband, 2 ex-wives and 6 children. That's when I got married. But it didn't.
The first 2 he was practicing.
Yeah, I was practicing for me.
For the main event.
I love that. But we did, and it was like a fairy tale thing. And I did a lot of what I wanted to do. He did a lot of what he wanted to do. We kind of, interchanged our lives with each other, and it was just, it was beautiful. And we traveled a lot. But that was love. That was true love.
And true love, honestly, Ninon, love is a verb. So it's an action word. So therefore, it's really not what we say. It's what we do. Because our actions speak louder than our words.
Yeah, but isn't that everything?
It should be.
It should be. So how can we help especially the younger generation? Because the older generation are know-it-alls. We know it all. We know exactly what's going on. That's a lie, number one.
We don't. We're still learning.
We're still learning. We learn every day. But the younger generation.
The Greeks taught love on 3 levels.
Okay.
So the first level that they taught love was from what they called the word called phileo. That's where we get our word Philadelphia, our English word Philadelphia. Okay. Phileo. That's why Philadelphia is known as the city of brotherly love.
I didn't know that, but I'm learning.
Right. So phileo, that's the first level. So that's a brotherly love.
Brotherly love.
A sisterly affection.
Okay.
So we start there with the brotherly love, sisterly affection. I don't have to necessarily know you, but I can still love you.
Yes.
So brotherly love.
I'm not going to marry you. I'm not going to do anything like that, but I can still
have love for you.
Love in all different forms. There are different forms of love.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the phileo. That's the first level. But then there was another level they taught was called eros, which is E-R-O-S. That's where we get our English word erotica. That's a touchy-feely type of
or a touchy thing.
Yeah, it's a touchy
sort
thing.
of romantic thing.
Yeah, a little
falling
romantic
in love
thing.
And moving forward.
So the world needs to go back to that romance.
Okay. Yes.
Falling in love.
Yes.
Seeing the key essence of what love really is.
And having the romance before you start getting that intimate stuff going.
Absolutely.
So in Europe, we do a little bit more of that. We kind of court each other.
I love that. Court. That's a word we don't hear anymore.
No,
court.
We court them.
Court one another.
Yeah, we court one another just to see if things work, if certain things work. Because, unfortunately or fortunately, men and women, when they get together, they have this, this feeling, this chemistry going on. And energies, and then they can't stop, and that's the worst thing you can do. Europe is a little different. We kind of court each other, and we, as women, we don't allow them to become intimate with us. Because it's usually the man wants to become intimate because he's a man. Right. And women are the ones in Europe more that we stop that. We say, well, let's just court a little bit. Let's just know each other a little bit before we dive into this crazy world of intimacy.
No, and see, use that word again. Let's know each other.
Yeah, yes.
See, it's that word of intimacy. Yes. We got to know each other.
Know each other. Even as friends, know each other.
It's important. And that last layer that they
sounds like a layer
describe
cake,
love
isn't it?
is, so you have phileo, you have eros, and then you have this last one called agape.
Agape.
Which represents unconditional.
That's like a church thing, isn't it? Unconditional.
It's unconditional.
Yes.
Agape. So
Agape.
essentially, we have all this energy in the world.
Yeah.
Let's see if, and let's just bring this on home.
Let's bring it together.
So we have all these energies in the world. We have all this energetic flow.
Yes.
So right now, you and I are operating within an energetic space.
Yes.
That means we're on the same frequency. So our wavelength right now is what's making this a reality.
A reality that we can talk about.
Absolutely. So we have this energy.
And understand each other without arguing.
Your energy is now mixing with my energy.
Your energy.
But when you bring energy
look what we came up with. I hope we came up with something positive. I think we did.
Because when you bring energies together, what you have is synergy.
Yes, synergy.
And synergy equates to people who are synergistically involved. And that's what we are right now.
Right now, yes.
So the world needs to have more people who are synergistically involved, because we're all energy, and you bring these energies together. And so when you create a synergy, what you have essentially is you have a harmony, you have a unity, you have a unification, you have a bond, but more than anything else, you have a oneness. That's what synergy is.
That's what oneness is. And oneness is absolutely, for me, and it doesn't have to be a love thing. It doesn't have to be, I mean, you and I are totally different. Well, one is years younger than I am anyway, so that's the first thing. But apart from all that, that we're able to talk to each other and understand each other. And maybe it's because we're on a talk show. Maybe, I don't know why, but we're understanding with each other without arguing, without having this, well, you're wrong, and that's not what it is, and this and that, which we probably could do. I don't think so, because we understand each other. And is that the key to what should be going on outside in the world?
Yeah, there's an old saying that says, in all you're getting, get understanding.
Get understanding.
In all you're getting, get understanding. That doesn't mean, see, I can never say that I don't like you, because if I don't understand you.
No, you've got to understand me.
I need to understand
you. First not to like me.
And then
anybody.
If I don't like you, that doesn't mean that I can't love you. I just may not want you in my space. I don't want you in my energetic space, but that doesn't mean I don't have to I still respect you.
You know, it's funny, I say that a lot. You know, a lot of people, if I don't get on with them, I said, that doesn't make that person a bad person. It's just that we don't get on. And if I see them, hi, how are you? But we don't go out to dinner or lunch or any of this stuff, because we don't have that frequency together.
Yeah.
We don't have as a friend or as a lover or whatever the case may be. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But if you don't have that, no point in being together anyway.
My old saying is, and I use this quite often, is when the energy is wrong, my conversation is not very long.
No.
It's just like when the energy is wrong, my conversation is not very long.
No, because you have nothing in common.
And it simply means that there's a bad vibe.
Yes.
The frequency is off.
It doesn't mean it's bad.
It doesn't mean that I'm right. It doesn't mean they're wrong.
No.
It doesn't mean that, I'm good and they're bad. It just means that it's not a fit for me.
No.
But I still respect that.
But you still respect that. Now I'm going to go on to something else. You're working with Mary Kay now, right?
I am not. I don't get a salary through Mary Kay. No. I'm doing seminars for them, and I'm speaking on a lot of their platforms.
And how is it with all these women? Because all these women, they're into makeup, they're into all this stuff. What do you see out there when you do these seminars?
So it's been fun, because you have a lot of women who are on a quest.
Okay.
2 quests. 1, to become independent, financially independent. 2, if they're single, they want a man, but sometimes that quest can detour them being able to be in what we would call a solid relationship.
A relationship. So you help them in that.
So you got to bring balance into getting that understanding that it's fine to go after being an entrepreneur and going after what you want.
Got it.
But also understanding how to include the male so that the male doesn't feel emasculated.
Yes. Well, I guess we could turn around and say, when I met my husband, I was working, he was working. But when I met him and I moved in with him, he was doing the real estate. I knew nothing about real estate. So I had to kind of listen to him, which I did, and I've done it very well. But he became the one. And I allowed that. Shouldn't women allow that a little bit more?
Yeah.
Allow the man to... or the woman.
That's the one for you. He's your guy.
Yes.
And you should be happy to even
be there.
Give him the title of he's the one. You know, you want a man.
Yes. Yes.
You want a man. You want a man that has a vision.
And he likes you
because
as well.
where there's no vision, then
there's
there's
nothing very much.
Huh?
Yeah, that's nothing very much can happen if
Here's what they say about no vision, Ninon.
Well,
my dad used to say that. My dad used to say, where a double-minded man is unstable in all of his ways. So if he's double-minded, that means there's division. So if there's division, there's no vision.
Oh, do you hear that, ladies? So he can't be divided.
A double-minded man is unstable in all of his ways.
Would that be when he's married and he cheats?
That's a form of it. That's a form of it.
Well, that would be definitely double-minded.
And it's a man who hasn't found himself, is not trying to find himself.
He's not kind of settled.
He's not responsible. Yeah, he's unsettled.
He's an unsettled man. And
Yes.
the same that could be with an unsettled woman. It's not only a man's thing, it's a woman's thing too.
She can be unstable in all of her
Absolutely.
ways. Division, no vision.
If you have a divided vision, otherwise I like this guy, but he's cute and good looking. That would be definitely divided. And that's a man will be with this beautiful woman, and another woman passes by, and he's like watching her, and you think, what's going on here? Because he's divided, right?
Yeah,
Kind of.
he should never show more attention to the woman that he's with. He should never show more attention than to anyone else than he shows to his partner.
Well, we're going to go back to a little bit of a personal thing, and then we've got time. Don't have time actually. You said you found somebody.
Yes.
And what was the decision? A quick one. What was the decision on it? You went left and she followed you, or you went
all of that, all the above is just all the boxes just checked. I mean, I think that when you get to that place, I teach this so much and so often, you just know.
Yes.
You get to that place where and I think what happens is because you don't settle, you become rewarded for your patience, and your patience pays off when the right one.
I'm going to get rewarded soon. And I'm not going to say I hope, because I don't. Because if I'm going to live, I had a beautiful marriage for 30 years, 29 years, and I had it. So I don't need it a second time. But if it comes along, great. And if it doesn't, I can still do what I want to do. All my interviews, all my traveling, all my stuff. How can anybody reach you, Regi?
CRegiRodgers.com, Twitter @Regi Rodgers, and Instagram is C.Regi Rodgers.
So don't forget this C bit. It's not
the letter
Regi,
C.
Yes, the letter C. It's not.
And Reggie's one G, one I.
One G,
and
one
Rodgers
I.
has a
It's
D.
very simplistic and very, very easy. And you love doing what you do.
Oh yeah. I take great pleasure in helping
other people
walk into their destiny and their purpose as it relates to meeting and discovering their mate.
And you said something beautiful. Destiny. We all have a destiny. And we all have a guidance where we want to go. Some people muddle up, and that's why we have people like you to come along and help. Well, Regi Rodgers has been absolutely amazing, as usual. Absolutely fabulous. Thank you for watching NinonSpeaks. It's a fabulous show. It's a one-on-one, so we just do a half-hour show or whatever it's going to be. It's absolutely incredible. And thank you again. And we shall return with another guest. You take care.